I'm Billy the Biker, and I'm chatting with Staxx, whether you like it or not.
Welcome to this episode of Chatting with Staxx. I'm your host, Bill Staxx, and today I got Billy the Biker. What's going on, man? How you doing?
Before I say anything you ask me, I have an alibi for, and Joe O'Connor's my lawyer, so be careful what you say. I'm good, man.
Oh,
How are you?
we're online, bro. So
Well,
whatever you
thanks for having
say,
me on.
just
Nice
remember,
opportunity.
whatever you
Thanks.
say can be held and used against you.
It always has. You got a
Right?
7-page rap sheet to prove it.
So how you doing?
I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm doing great, man. So for the people that don't know who you are, you've been on a couple of interviews. You were on Ambix. Shout out to Ambic. We were both on Ambix.
Yes.
Alumni,
So,
right?
guarantee this one's gonna be better.
You think?
I think so. Yeah, because I got a lot of questions that I wanted to talk about. They were never asked. So I felt like I was rushed. This way, I'm gonna sit back and relax. Anything I said wrong, you can edit, right?
Yeah.
Anything incriminating, that'd be good.
So where were you born and raised?
I was born out in Queens Village, right near Creedmoor, the mental hospital, about 6 blocks away.
And what was your
Appropriate.
early life like?
I tell you what, I can't believe I had all the problems I did in jail time, and because I had a nice childhood. I grew up in Queens. My grandfather was one of Teddy Roosevelt's Rough Riders. He was a captain in the military with his own horse. He rode with Teddy. I got pictures downstairs, and I had no reason to get being such a mess. Because of him, I got into bikes. He had me on his 1923 Indian Chief bike when I was 5.5 years old. I straddled the tank. He took me around the block a couple of times, and I fell in love. So, and the vibration and women, I understand what you do now. The vibration of that bike, I just fell in love with that bike, man. So I just kept on going. And every other Sunday, we'd go polish his car. A 1957 black on black Buick Special Roadmaster, gorgeous car. He got me into a lot of that cool stuff.
So you're growing up in the city, basically, right?
Yeah, Queens when it was nice. Nothing like it's nice now.
Yeah, now it's a third world country there.
Shit it is.
It's insane. When did you get your first bike? Are you riding like dirt bikes and things like that early on?
I did both. I got the first bike I rode after my grandfather was I was 15 years old. My friend's brother. We moved to Levittown, Long Island when I was 6. So I grew up in Levittown in Nassau County when used to be potato fields. A lot of people know that. So my friend's brother used to work on bikes, for customers. And what he did was he let me and his brother ride the bikes that he was working on around the neighborhood. We had no helmets, we didn't give a shit. It was 19. I was born in 49, so whatever it was. We started riding and
About 64 or something.
something like that. I used to be. I'm good with math, but only grams, ounces, and kilos. Nothing else. So we started riding around the neighborhoods and stuff, and I just fell in love. The first time I kicked the bike over, he didn't tell me about retarding the spark. So he just said, "Start the bike." I kicked the bike. I was about 120 pounds if I was lucky. It flipped me over the bike, and I landed about 5 feet ahead of the bike, flat on my ass. Fell in love. I said, "Holy shit, this is gonna be a lot of fun, man." So I started doing that.
Yeah, you always remember the first time you rode a bike.
You remember a lot of the first stuff, and despite of the 2 strokes I had, I remember it all. It was a lot of fun. Levittown was a nice place to grow up. It was easy going. My parents never had that much money, but it started my grandfather. He had me shooting pool when I was 10 years old, and my grandmother would come downstairs and give me a glass of May wine. You probably heard of that before.
Yeah.
So I'm shooting pool and drinking wine at 10 years old. It doesn't get much better than that to grow up.
It was a different time.
You didn't tell me you shouldn't. So then we moved to Long Island. We didn't have that much money. My father worked all the time. My mother worked in Philip Morris cigarette place. So he built me in the backyard. He put a hoop on a chain on a shed. He built a high jump bar that you could also pole vault with a bamboo pole that he got wherever he took it from or borrowed it maybe. And then barrels like the 55-gallon drums. So I'm turning them sideways and rolling on the barrels and doing all kind of balancing stuff. So I didn't realize what he's doing. He's setting me up for a good future. All that exercise made me probably live as long as I'm doing now. I'm almost 77. Should have been dead a long time ago.
Jumping over the barrels.
No, stand on the barrel and sideways and then rolling across the yard
Oh
like they're
yeah,
doing a
yeah,
circus.
yeah,
That kind
yeah.
of shit. So that improves your balance. Unbelievable. Never thought it was like a training camp, but he did all of that shit for me. And then by the time when I was 10 years old, he was a boxer in the military, in the army. He was a master sergeant. He taught the other guys how to fight because he was so good with a hand to hand and knife. They didn't even send him overseas. They kept him in the Panama jungle, training other soldiers how to fight. That's how good he was. So he taught me how to fight when I was 10. By the time I was 12, I beat up my first school bully who was 15, 16, something like that. I beat the shit out of this guy. I was covered in blood. I was throwing combinations at 12. So my
You
father was
remember that
pretty,
too? Your first fight.
he was a good badass. Yeah, I was covered in blood. So after that fight, I said, people used to fight in the schoolyard all the time, and the principal or the teacher would come out and stop the fight. The best part didn't even start yet. So I said, tell you what, why don't we do this? At the end of the schoolyard, there's always like a water house. You know what I'm talking about, right? The little one-story buildings.
Yeah.
So I said, why don't we all get on? The fighters get up on top of the roof. Everybody else stands around, and they can see most of the fight, but only when you're near the edge. First guy that gets knocked off the roof, instead of killing each other on the ground, the first guy gets off, wins. I mean, first guy that gets knocked off loses. So that actually picked up and started pretty good. So I claimed the responsibility of starting that. It was mine, all mine.
Yeah,
I want
yeah, but
credit.
you're pushing people off the roof. Like, don't they get
Yeah, but
hurt bad?
it's 10 feet. It's at 10 feet.
Yeah,
If
but
you're gonna
still,
fight on
that's
the ground, I seen guys getting fight on the ground, pulverized. They're almost dead. Once you get knocked off the roof, at least you got a chance.
I
So it caught on.
guess
It was pretty cool. I had a good time.
broken leg. You walk away with
Yeah,
a
it's better
broken
than
leg,
dying.
broken arm. Yeah, I guess. So, are you
But
getting in trouble? Are you getting in trouble at a young age?
yeah, we started doing. I don't know, they probably still do it today. I don't even know. In school, I think it was in 10th grade. We had school rumbles. One school to another one had the big rumbles,
Oh
parking
yeah.
lots and schoolyards. So we were going to be fighting Island Tree School. So I was in wood shop. I learned how to make a ball of wood out of on a lathe because I took wood shop and metal shop. So made the ball, put nails on it. It was really nice, and a chain and a handle. I made my first mace, and that was going to be my first fight as in a rumble. Thank God the cops busted us that night because I would have killed somebody with that thing. I guarantee it.
Probably.
So I never got to use it, sadly enough. But at least I know how to make weapons now.
Yeah, and those rumbles, I've seen some brutal stuff. Some people getting hit
Yeah.
with bats in the face and things like that. It was pretty brutal.
Sometimes it's good to see the cops. They probably saved a couple of lives that night.
Yeah, probably. When do you first see or hear about motorcycle clubs?
That was a while after after before all that I started getting. I building model, the little models that you build when you're a kid.
Yeah.
I had like King Kong and Dracula and Wolfman, and then I had these little tiny metal tools like wrenches and crowbars. I used to heat them up with a pair of pliers and a cigarette lighter and melt them into the models, and then put Dayglow paint on the wounded area, and then put on the black light. I was probably a little sicker than usual by the time I was 13, 14. And then they would glow in the dark. It was pretty cool. My parents come upstairs and like it was like another planet because it felt like you were floating. All you could see was the paint, the black ceiling, a lot of day glow threads going back and forth to the posters. So they realized there was probably something wrong with the sun, but didn't pay much attention to it. And then I realized that the glue was giving me a buzz. So I started doing glue in a bag, come home at night, when the lamppost lights one came on, peeling the glue off my face like a zombie. And then I found my father's Valiums. He had a lifetime supply. So my gateway drug was probably glue. Probably Tesla's glue was good for a long time. Then they put mustard, like a mustard glue in there to make you cry or some shit. So I stopped doing that crap and graduated to just smoking pot and all that crap. You know, But a little at a time. I wanted to do it the right way, step by step, so you don't miss anything.
So
Then I
you
got
got
into
into
bikes.
substances before you got into motorcycle clubs.
Oh God, yeah, way before that, man. Then the bike I started at 15 years old. Before the club started, I got locked up quite a few times. I ended up doing like almost 7 years for
For
different
what?
things. Like
What did you get locked up for, and what was it like going to prison back then?
it was a lot easier, I think, than today. The first one I was busted was selling to a cop outside of a bar. Some piece of shit that I knew sent me up to the cop, said this is my friend. So I sold a couple of things to him, a couple of $25 bags 2 or 3 times, and then I got popped. Went to jail, I think it was the 505th guy to go to Otisville Correctional Facility for in 19, God, I don't remember, 1970 something early. So I did time over that. Came out again. I had a couple more little busts like burglaries and shit. Then I got busted again for a gun, 1976. Went back to jail. I was out, went back to jail again. So I was out of jail once for 2 weeks, went right back in again. And then once for about 2 months, went back in again. By the time I went from the army, I'm sorry, I forgot about the army. That's when I got into heavy. That's when I started shooting.
In
I
the
was doing
army?
acid and yeah, I got military. I got drafted in 1969, and I was introduced to heroin by a little Mexican guy who was in our barracks with us. I snorted it the first time. I'm like, wow, what a. And if you throw up on it, you know it's good because your body's getting used to the poison. So the second time I did it, I went to the bathroom shaking like a little girl, hoping that I did it the right way. I shot and it was like going to heaven, I guess. It was amazing. That took the place of sex. It was so good. So I started selling open. I started selling mescaline, acid. I had I used to take the older brothers would come into the barracks. And this was the time when the Black Panthers were very active. So black and whites had a big problem with each other. But these guys would come up to me and they were buying from me. Trouble is, that was so good to them. I go into the bathroom, I take shoe polish, government issued for my shoes, and I take sandalwood incense and I roll them in a little ball and sell $10 a ball. I did it for months. They were kept on buying stuff. But one day they came back, there was like four of them. They're walking in and I thought I'm gonna get my ass kicked. So took a stance ready to do the best I could. They go, take it easy, Cool Breeze. We just want some more of that stuff. So be right back. Stay here. So we're hanging out with some friends of mine. And I went to the bathroom and rolled up a batch more. So I did that for quite a while. We were doing it for a while. Just banging a couple of whacks by the Golden Gate Bridge on the big grassy area. We're doing running around naked the whole weekend. What a blast. Things were great in the 60s and 70s, man. I don't care what anybody says.